Welcome to the Soundtrack of Our Lives podcast. I'm Mackayla, and we're going to jump right in with the two hardest questions of all. Who are you, and what have you been up to recently?
My name is Pat. I play in House and Home, and I have been getting ready to put a record out primarily.
Yay! That's so exciting for you guys.
Yeah, I'm very, very stoked. It's been far too long coming.
So, how do you guys choose which singles you put out?
We this time around we kind of collaborated with our label, and it is always a pretty lengthy discussion just based on like what everybody is feeling. There were a couple songs that one of which is not out yet. But that one was pretty obviously a single just because the chorus in it was like one of everybody's favorites. Other than that, it's just kind of a how do we want people to how do we want to prepare people for the whole record?
Hmm.
And we never really know until the entire thing is done. And then it is just a debate between us, our producer, the label, and until everybody can come to a consensus.
How long does it take for you all to come to a consensus?
This time it was like I said, there were a couple songs where everybody was like, "Yeah, obviously." And then we went back and forth probably a couple weeks
Mhm.
on the other two. Um, what was cool though is everybody had a different idea of the other songs that they wanted to be singles, which in my head is a good thing because it means that everybody different elements of the record are sticking out to everybody.
Mhm.
um, which I hope is a sign of like a well-rounded record, but we'll see.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
So, you guys also just finish up the first half of a US tour.
yeah, we did a couple weeks with a band called Troubled Minds from Arizona, and that was awesome. Those guys are amazing. We had a lot of fun. Played a couple new songs out, so that was cool to kind of get used to playing the new record. We're doing another week and some change with Bearings from Canada and Second Harbor, also from Canada, next month. And that'll be like the last little bit of touring, other than some little bits and pieces here and there that we haven't announced yet
Mhm.
for the rest of the year.
So, on this last bit of the tour, were there any particular venues or shows that really stood out to you?
Yeah, actually, so we played this festival in Evansville, Indiana, called Fuchsia Fest, put on by our friend Darren. Um, and that was I think personally, and I think the rest of the guys would agree with me, that was the highlight of the tour for me. Um, Seeing the scene that everybody had built in Indiana was just really cool. We have some like a very strong local DIY scene in Richmond,
Hmm.
where we're from. And so to see a version of that somewhere else that was just as vibrant and just as strong was really cool. And all the bands were awesome. The venue was great. Darren ran a really tight ship, and it was very, very cool. It felt very homey to us.
That's awesome.
Mhm. Yeah, it was awesome. Very, very cool.
What did it feel like to play the new songs?
Um, Pretty cathartic. Swarm, the first single, has been we've been playing that one for a little bit. Um, the newest song that we put out, Oracle, we actually put out while we were on this past tour. So to get to play it and say, "Hey, we just put this song out today," we've actually never done that. So that was really cool. Um, it's fun for us as a band that takes forever to put songs out. Whenever we are able to drop new music and immediately start playing it, it's so gratifying because like if you are at home and you put music out, the first thing you want to do is go play it. And so to wake up, have the song have dropped at midnight, and then get to play it that night in front of people is a really cool thing. I kind of only ever want to drop songs while we're on tour from now on.
That could be an interesting marketing technique.
Maybe we'll see. I mean, the hope is to be on tour often enough where that just kind of happens naturally
Hmm.
anyway. But we'll see what happens.
That'd be cool. You could plan it around specific shows or places.
Yeah, exactly. I think we were in, oh shoot. I think we were in Memphis the day that it dropped. Which was cool. The venue that we played there was awesome. Yeah, I would really like to kind of look into that a little bit further and make it a little bit more of a thing every time that happens. That would be cool.
Yeah, and that's unique for everyone who goes to those concerts.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys have any pre or post show rituals?
Um, I mean, I have like my little vocal warm up thing that I do before the show. Uh, Pre-show, I think we all, I mean, it's not even like an intentional thing, but we always write the set list right before the show.
Hmm.
Even if it's the same set list as we did last night, we'll all kind of gather around a table and Colin will literally just write them on pieces of paper. That has turned into a little bit of a ritual. Other than that, we don't have anything super intentional that we do to like get into the mindset. We've we've done stuff before that we never really took like super seriously or anything, but Matt, our drummer, really liked doing what he called the van shake right before a show where we would all pile into the van and he would blast a Shania Twain song and just shake the van as hard as he could. Uh, we did that for like a year, but it's probably not great for the suspension on our van, so we stopped. Um, but other than that, I think we've been touring, like van touring, and at and just above DIY for so long that like the ritual kind of becomes like, all right, everybody meet up at merch. We're gonna greet the line of people if there is one, and say hi to everybody and take pictures and talk, and then immediately it's like, all right, where are we stopping tonight? And
Hmm.
it's just down to business kind of thing. But I would like to incorporate something maybe a little bit more lighthearted again because the van shake thing was very fun.
What do you miss most when you're away on tour?
Oh, my wife and my dog, easy. Yeah, that's the toughest part for sure. I think everybody else would say the same thing. It 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 is really cool being home and having like we have like a very awesome support system at home. Like all of our partners are awesome, our friends are great, and like we love Richmond. So it is tough being away. It was tough leaving this past time, but yeah, for sure. I think everybody would say our partners
Hmm.
are apt like that's easy.
Yeah. What kind of dog do you have?
So we actually have a very very old, we think border collie. He is my uh in-laws dog, but they live in an apartment in DC.
Hmm.
So my wife and I took him in a few weeks ago. And he's the best. His name's Jake. He is super smart and like very, very sweet and really quiet. But he's very old and we have a backyard and they don't. So we are taking him for indefinitely so he can just kind of hang out here and it's a little bit easier on him. He's not super mobile anymore. So
Mm.
mm.
That makes sense. Yeah, apartments are not great for that.
Yeah, no. In the middle of a city, 25th floor, it's just
Hmm.
not awesome.
Just not ideal. Maybe
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
puppy,
exactly.
but not an older
Right.
dog.
Yeah, definitely.
So you mentioned before the local music scene. How important is that to you guys and your music?
It's kind of what started everything. I met our guitar player and other singer Joey at a show in Richmond. Like the biggest connection we had to each other before we started the band was going to shows, and all of the mutual friends that we made through there. Hardcore is huge here. Um, and so we grew up just going to hardcore shows, pop punk shows, like whatever. And most of the friends that I have had for more than a couple years, I made through music
Hmm.
and going to shows in Richmond, at least the friends I have at home. Um, so it was the common thread for all of us through like our very formative, like late teenage, young adult years.
Hmm.
Um, so it's kind of like a common ground that everybody falls back on when everything else, when all else fails. So it is the basis of everything, you know.
For someone who is looking to get involved in their local music scene, what advice would you give?
Um, I will say that I completely empathize with kind of the intimidation factor if you don't go to shows. Especially, depending on the genre, if it's hardcore, like it can be very, very intimidating if you don't know uh kind of like the vibe or the etiquette or whatever. But you will be so surprised by how uh welcoming and encouraging most people are.
Hmm.
So I would say if you want to kind of dip your toe in, find a band in your area that you're into and just get a friend and go to one of their shows and vibe it out. Like there is no pressure to do anything crazy. You don't have to start spin kicking as soon as you walk in the door or anything, but just start going and see if my wife just walked in. She goes, "Yes, you do." But like just go and find a friend or two that is maybe just as curious about it as you are and form your own community because the community around it is like really what keeps people coming back. It's what kept me coming back. um Go meet people, get out of your comfort zone just a little bit and try it out. It can turn into one of the most rewarding things that you ever do.
Hmm.
So take the leap if you're thinking about it.
What does your wife think of the new album?
I think she likes it. What do you think of the new record? Yeah, she loves it. um yeah, it's
Now would be the time for me to go. I fucking hate
yeah. She said now would be the time for you to find out that I hate it. Yeah, I mean, as I said, all our partners are super supportive. But we recorded the record in Richmond. Um, so they were around for like at least a little chunk of the process. And if nothing else, it was nice to have a little bit of that outside opinion when we got stuck on stuff.
Hmm.
There's an anecdote that I am reminded of by my wife a lot. We were recording an EP, uh, 2023, I think. The EP called Everything is Sacred, and there's a song on there where the original melody that I had written for it um, was like okay, but it wasn't all the way there. And I was in the booth tracking it, and my at the time girlfriend, now wife, and our guitar player Joey's at the time girlfriend, now fiance, were in the control room as we were tracking vocals, and they were like, "Hey, that sounds like Taylor Swift." And I'm like in the booth, like, "No, it doesn't. Shut up." And then Will looked up the song that Will, our producer, looked up the song that they were talking about, and he was like, "Hey, yeah, that's the same melody." And so we changed it, and it turned out way better. But yeah, all of our partners are super supportive and also very honest. So it would be really hard for us to put out music that they don't like.
How does songwriting look like, or what does songwriting look like for you guys?
It usually it's a little different every time, honestly. For the most part, though, it will usually start with an idea that Joey or I, or sometimes Colin, even have. Um, and from there, it's very collaborative. I know some bands will do the thing where like one person writes everything and then just teaches it to everybody
Hmm.
else. We've never done things that way. We started in a basement, just like playing through stuff and working on riffs together in one room, and it's kind of stayed that way more or less. Uh, Now we just do the majority of it in a nice studio because we're lucky enough to do that. But usually it's like we'll bring a riff or an idea or even just a concept of a song that we want to write to the rest of the guys, and we'll kind of start working on it, somebody will have an idea for a rough structure, chord progressions, and then from there, Matt will usually throw in this drum idea that he's been sitting on and forgot about that will completely transform the song because we none of us would have ever thought about that. And then I always say that Colin's a finisher because he tends to, if we're stuck on like the last 20% of a song, he'll come up with the most simple, like obviously or like seemingly obvious idea that none of us had thought of before.
Hmm.
And it will just like unlock the rest of it. And we're like, oh, we feel dumb for spending 6 hours stuck on this song when we could have just been doing this the whole time. Uh, but he's really good at seeing that kind of stuff right away. So everybody has their role for sure, but it's very collaborative, and I think we all would prefer it that way.
Hmm. How do you make sure that everyone feels that their voice is heard?
Good question. It is pretty democratic, I would say. We try not to move on from any part of a song until everybody has kind of voiced their approval.
Hmm.
Um, I think I'm probably the biggest offender, admittedly, and maybe bending that rule a little bit just because I get really excited and I tend to be a little bit of a control freak. So I think there's maybe a little bit of an unspoken system of checks and balances there. Our guitar player and other singer Joey is really good about kind of shoulder tapping me and being like, "Hey, you're making executive decisions," because I just start moving and I don't stop. Um, so I try and we all try and make sure that everybody has given the thumbs up on an idea before we start really getting into it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Before I ask the last question, was there anything else you want to mention or talk about today?
Um, just to reiterate, we have another record coming out in November 14th. It's called I Won't Look for You. We just dropped a new song called Oracle a couple weeks ago. Um, we are going to be on tour this November supporting Bearings and with our new friends in Second Harbor. And we are going to try and play anywhere and everywhere in 2026. So we pride ourselves on being a live band. So if you're at all interested, please grab a ticket and come see it because that's like the whole point for
Hmm.
us. So
If someone hasn't seen you live, what can they expect?
we try and bring the energy. Um, we have been kind of an up and comer for a very long time. So we got kind of something to prove a little
Hmm.
bit. So we try and just make it sound as big as possible. And our goal is to make it impossible to ignore when we're playing. So however you interpret that.
Okay, and our last question is, what is the soundtrack of your life?
Ooh. Um, that's a good question. How do people normally answer this question?
It's
Like favorite bands?
yeah, sometimes it's favorite bands, albums. Some people do things that aren't even music related.
Ooh, okay. Um, I mean it's all music related for me, but I grew up, my dad would always play like 90s alternative, like his favorite bands are The Smiths, Radiohead, REM, and those are some of my favorite bands too. And so uh I really developed a love for like songwriting and lyricism. So like I love Jason Isbell, Ben Gibbard, Tom York, Matt Berninger. So I'm down to listen to uh anyone that writes just really creative and deep songs.
Hmm.
Been really into I've been going into the back catalog of like Phoebe Bridgers and the new Big Thief record is really good too. So if you write cool songs with thoughtful lyrics, that's the soundtrack for me.
I like it.
Mhm.
So, for all of our listeners who want to stay updated on you guys, hear the album, maybe see you live, where can they find you?
We are on Instagram at House and Home VA. Our website is houseandhomerva.com. All the shows, ticket links, and merch and all the updates are over there as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course, have a nice rest of your day.
You too.